I see how people try you, and I get tried all the time. Obviously, I work in sports, so I've been dealing with irrational feedback for my entire career. And, you know, you've had some pretty high profile pushbacks, so to speak. So how do you keep it together? Because me personally, I'm like, and I can see this in you, so that's really why I'm asking you, because I'd be like, I wish a motherfucker would every day try and talk to me like that, because you really can't check for me anyway. But you kept it together. You were very graceful and composed, which is the right thing to do, because then you actually get your point across. And when I start to get hot, I have to remind myself, like, you know, when your face starts to get hot and you get that feeling where you're like, oh, I'm about to crash out.
Yeah, and your spirit's like, take them the fuck out.
Yeah, because that's
like,
that's really
now.
what they're asking for.
Like,
that's really what they desire. Because why the fuck else would they be talking to me like this?
Right.
So how do you quench that spirit?
You know, so I'm authentically the same person, whether it's Dr. Bryant or Cheyenne. But Dr. Bryant has a purpose, and I understand that. And so when I'm in that space and I have my psychology hat on, I just have a lot of grace and compassion. And I'm not really seeing what you're saying. I'm seeing the pain at which it comes from. And I'm not really hearing what you're saying. I'm actually decoding that you're asking and screaming for help. And so whenever somebody's in a place of projecting pain or trauma or projecting this resistance onto you, wherever the resistance is, the pain is. And so in that space, I'm going, wow, like you are really screaming for help from somebody who really couldn't code that this is your trauma, who is showing up for you in this conversation. And because I am an expert in this field, I would be doing them and myself a disservice, and everyone else, all the rest of my clients and people who are on my platform who listen to me because of my expertise, a disservice for me to not see the pain in that. And so I'm speaking to the hurt little boy in them, right? Or the hurt little girl in them, or the pain in them, the trauma in them. I'm not speaking to the adult in them who knows they totally out of pocket talking to me. Right. Because if I did, then I wouldn't be able to disarm them. It would be war. Because I know that my words can take somebody out. Not just anyone's. I'm saying my particular words, me, can totally dismantle somebody. And it's not only that I know it because I know me, I've done it before. And because of that, I choose to make sure that I'm not dismantling someone who's already broken. I'm not crushing someone who's already coming ripped apart, because that's just not what I want to do. And there's times where I have to self-talk and I have to be like, okay, this is where you gotta tap into your self-talk, Dr. B, and you gotta make sure Cheyenne don't step in. That little girl from the hood don't step in. You know, I went from the hood to the hills, so choose the hills today. Choose the hills. But I feel better, honestly, Joy, when I make sure that I come from a place of really helping somebody, like the Bible says, come to themselves. And really see that, wait a minute, there was nothing in her that was really trying to poke or that had an intention of adding salt to my wound. So that's why she was able to stay so composed. And then the other thing is, you know, when you come from a place, and I said this on Breakfast Club, when you come from a place of inner city, the hood, and you come from certain adversities, or I came from teenage parents. You know, my mom was addicted to the drug that my father sold, and thank God now she's recovered and she's killing it, and the VP of my company doing all these amazing things. But when you come from that, you're the little girl in the hood and the oldest of 7, the first grandchild. You don't have anyone to look up to. You're used to hearing adversity. You're used to hearing outside chatter. And so when you grow up in that space, you learn and you grow something that's called a strong internal locus. And you learn how to really not give a fuck when nobody cares about you, but learn how to care about them. And so for me, again, the Bible says it was good for me that I was afflicted, because my affliction has built me for a time like this. Yeah. And so when somebody, you know, when the little dog comes to the big dog park, we big dogs, when they come to the big dog park and they seem to be having a lot to say, the Yorkies got a lot of bark, yep. Right? Then I understand I'm a Cane Corso. I understand how big I am. And so I don't have to speak it or belittle you. My presence is enough for you to know who's in the room and who you fucking with.
Yeah, that's going to take me a little work to get to where you are,
okay.
Because I'm on the opposite side of the journey. I'm getting bitter and more angry and getting less grace. Like, I've been saying recently that I have less and less empathy for people, and this is why you're Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and you're here to do the good work.
No, but I love that, and I want to hear you explain that, because I mean, that's
you know
real.
what? I think I've been watching a lot of your videos. I feel on the same wavelength as you for a lot of things, and we'll get into some of it. But one of the things is like, when you are a powerful woman, and when you're a woman who dares to show up as yourself and to give your opinion and to be unapologetic and to go toe to toe with other powerful, egotistical men, when you work in a space where there's a lot of masculine energy, your vibrations are very aggressive. And you have to in order to survive. And I have a different story, but a similar story in growing up around abuse and growing up with people constantly talking down to me, talking down to everyone around you, like emotional, mental terrorism, really, that puts you in a space where you're not even a child anymore. So it's very difficult for me to be vulnerable and to tap into, like, I don't fucking know you. Like, I care about my family. I care about my friends. You, on the other hand, can die.
And don't talk to me like that, right?
Like, no, you can literally die. Like, I don't have
right.
it in me to get to care about you. Yeah. And I think that I'm trying to be aware of how much hate and how much negativity and how much social is pumping all of this stuff into us. And I have to be aware that I'm vulnerable to those kind of messages as well, because what you're saying is right, but I don't have that yet.
But I want to ask you this: how does that defense mechanism, how does it show up and work when you're in romantic relationships?
So it's interesting that you asked that, because you said something that I wanted to ask you about, because I fucking 100% relate to this. And I get this question a lot. And I get a lot from men too, who are like, oh, like, this is how you act in a relationship. Like, baby, please, come on. I am an alpha submissive.
Yeah.
And I love being soft with my man, and it's the only way I actually can be around a man.
Relationship.
If a man is around me and brings out, as soon as that Corso starts snaring, I'm not even interested anymore, because like you, my tongue, I am going to say something that is going to mentally and emotionally destroy you. That's my goal, actually. If you put me in a space where I'm in a corner and I have to defend myself, or I have to fight my way out of this, I'm going to employ the things that I have at my disposal. I talk for a living. I'm going to say something that's going to fuck you up for your whole life. This thing I've been holding on to, because you put me in that position. And men who are attracted to women like us understand to create a space where you don't feel attacked, where you don't feel challenged in negative ways, because you can challenge us. You can have hard conversations, but you have to create a space where I feel safe.
Yep.
That's the only man I want to be around, is someone that makes me feel safe, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. And yeah, I'm gonna be a little baby girl. I'm not trying to fight with you.
Yeah, but I love that you said that, because I was having a conversation earlier with one of my clients, and I was saying we use this word alpha, right? And I use it too, by being a hybrid, alpha submissive. But alpha really isn't something that exists in us women. But we use it to describe when we get out of our feminine. And all it is exactly what you said. When a woman feels like she's in an unsafe environment, then you will see her defend herself. And her defending herself goes into what looks like a masculine energy.
Right.
And if a man attempts to double down on that masculine energy, then that ends up being an abusive, hostile situation and environment.
And it's negative that we even think that type of behavior is attached to being masculine.
Yes. And so the correct response, I was telling the gentleman earlier, is to ask your partner, your woman, baby, I see that you're unsafe right now. What have I done or what happened that caused you to be unsafe? Help me facilitate you so that I know how I have to pivot, I know who I have to check, or I know how I can facilitate you. So if I did it, I need to understand how I make sure I don't put you back into that corner that you call a corner, that unsafe space. Because the only reason why you're out of your softness is because you're no longer disarmed. You're at war.
Yeah.
And
I'm with someone
like you
who
said,
I've
if I'm
been
at war, I'm here to
vulnerable
take
with.
you out.
Right. I'm not going to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put myself in a position to lose. But I was raised by an abusive father. I've been in physically abusive relationships. Any kind of abuse that's happened, you can check for me.
Wow.
So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. I've done a lot of work, and am still doing work. But when that question arises, that's the answer though. Like, I can't afford to be unsafe around men. I work with a lot of men who are all, I hate the word alpha too. It's just like so overused. And it
Masculine
means
men.
nothing. But
Yeah.
just, they have achieved a lot of things. They are one percenters in a lot of ways, whether it's money or power or, legacy, accomplishments, all these things. So in order to move around that space with confidence, you have to truly
Right.
exude confidence and not any kind of insecurity, because people can sense that. Even other powerful women can sense that. And we're all vulnerable in a lot of ways, but you have to do, and I have done work to understand how to set up boundaries and recognize, okay, this is an unsafe space.